You bring restoration. You bring restoration to my soul.
Well, the fact of the matter is we have to understand the background of the Jewish community. The community, and until the emancipation in Europe, were basically second or third rate citizens all the way into towards the end of the 19th century. And they have 2,000 years of having their own institutions, their own businesses, and this attitude has carried over here even to America. In all the large cities that have Orthodox Jewish populations, not only do we have our own school systems, we have our own ambulance systems, our own social service agencies, and then we have tens of organizations, charity organizations of all sorts and all types that we support both in America and in Israel. And therefore the attitude of the average Orthodox Jewish, listen, we are a minority of a minority. Jewish people are only 2 or 3% of the population, and Orthodox Jews are only a small percentage, getting larger every day, but still only a 20% or so of that Jewish community. So their attitude is, we don't just talk the pro-life talk, we walk the walk. I have 9 kids, my brothers have 11 and 14 respectively. My parents are both alive. My mother is 77, and God bless her, my father's going to be 83. They have around 40 to 50 grandchildren. That's it, and that's not the largest family. There are other families that are much larger. We have a man who has something like, I can't even believe it. I think it's in the area of 1,000 descendants, and he's still alive. He's around 100 years old. I mean, it's phenomenal. So, you know, they feel that they're into doing the pro-life walk and talk, and they say we can't affect the outside world. It's crazy. Like, these are like the Pennsylvania Dutch, if you will, the Dutch Amish of the Jews. So what I've been trying to do is I'm saying that that's not enough, and that we have a moral, ethical obligation to speak out and to correct the mess of our liberal Jewish co-religionists, who are unfortunately, because they've forsaken the religiosity of the Jewish people, so they have a substitute religion called liberalism. And we have to set the record straight. So we owe it to America to say thank you for being so hospitable and to clean up the mess that the libs are making in every area of public life. So I'm cautiously optimistic that as time passes, slowly, for instance, in the last elections, more and more Jews are voting on the life and family issues. Even in places like New York, where they're wedded to the Democrats, Palladino won for governor because he was pro-life and pro-family. So it's happening slowly. Not overnight, but it's happening.
Now, what about with, you know, people, I've discussed this with many Jewish people, and they talk about things like the quickening, and that's, you know, perhaps when the moment of life begins, or, you know, they say that the Torah doesn't support...
Well, well, here's the thing. That's only a part of the information, and they themselves, many of them, don't know that they're liberal. The fact of the matter is that when Noah came off the ark in Genesis 9:6, God gave a new code of conduct, and He said, "He who sheds the blood of man, by a man his blood shall be shed." And it's a very convoluted type of statement. Well, what do you mean? It won't be shed by an electric chair, it's going to be shed by another man? What? So the rabbis say in the Talmud, recorded almost 1,600 years ago and passed down from father to son over 2,000 years ago, it's a man by a man and a man within a man. The preface Adam means man, the preface bi or ba-Adam can mean by a man or within a man. So the self-same instruction that tells you that abortion is a feticide, is that murder is a capital offense, also includes feticide as a capital offense. So that predates the giving of the Torah to the Jewish people. It's explicit, it's quoted in the Talmud, and it's codified as a jurisprudence by Maimonides, the great codifier and philosopher. So the bottom line is that for Noahides, for the Gentile, they are absolutely correct, and quite possibly, even from the moment of conception, it is prohibited to have an abortion for Gentiles. The Jews have a slightly different standard. I can't get into it theologically, but certainly every Jew is obligated to make every effort to save the baby. And the fact is that the Talmud, that goes back, as I said, 1,600 years, writes that even when a baby is threatening the life of the mother in utero, you're only allowed to excise the offending limb. That means to create something called an embryotomy, to go in utero and cut off that finger or that hand if that's absolutely threatening her life. Now, they couldn't do those operations then, but the derivative of this is, we've got it codified, is to show just how pro-life. You can't just kill the whole baby. They were talking about something that first became technically possible in the last 50 years.
Right.
So this is fantastic. So whoever says, that Jews are not pro-life or tries to deal with these distinctions, I think overwhelmingly we are opposed to abortion almost under any circumstances, except literally for the life of the mother. And until the baby emerges partially from the birth canal, at which time the mother's life no longer takes precedence.
And what about the Jewish leaders? I mean, isn't this something that they...
Well, again, if you're talking about the liberals, they have their religion, unfortunately, is really secular humanism, because they pigged out on Americana, and they have lost the connection with what has made them a nation of priests and holy people. So those leadership are going to be liberal. From their very liberalism, we can see just how conservative the religion is, because they're the opposite extreme. And as I said to you, the Orthodox ones, they do speak out a little to the legislators, etc. But again, it's their priority is protecting their own community. They're just so busy with all kinds of stuff here and in Israel, and that they're not used to this level of political activism that I'm espousing. And we've got to get to them. It's a battle. It's happening slower than I've expected.